The Honourable Phil Heatley.
Mr Chairman, I would like to take the time to focus in on clause 5 and again 9 on the details which for many members are hidden behind these words. Once over lightly reading, might consider that we're making some sweeping changes here, but it's important to note that clauses 5, 6 and 7 in particular are a summary of what we saw in the preamble. For example, in clause 5 here, it talks about the validation of specified rates and says that despite the failure of the Council to comply with Section 23 or 24 of the Local Government Rating Act 2002, the specified rates are made valid, and on it goes. Well, Section 23 and 24 of the Local Government Rating Act, in terms of the what we're having to validate in terms of Section 23, by way of an example, is that the Council in 2003-4 did not state clearly that the Council was setting rates as required by that section, which occurred in 2003-4. So there was the unlawful action covered by Section 23 of the Local Government Rating Act. Also to refer to all of the rates that were purported to be set. So when the resolutions were made, the Council in effect did not detail all the rates to be set. They sort of cherry-picked which ones they described in detail, and they should have actually resolved to set them all individually and presumably voted on each of them. Also, the Council did not comply with Section 23 of the Act as described in Clause 5, Part 2 of this bill, is that it did not set the rates before the Council resolved to adopt the annual plan. And that is an important matter. It should have adopted the annual plan, and then the rate setting falls out of that adoption rather than the other way around. Now, Clause 5, Part 2 also talks about the breaches of Section 24 of the Local Government Rating Act. And in this case, Section 24 was breached because the Council failed to state that all the rates were purported to be set in that particular year, that the rates could in fact be paid by instalments. They never made that clear. And thirdly, that in fact penalties could be added to the rates, and they should have done that all under Section 24 of the Local Government Ratings Act 2002. So in fact, when you look at Section 5 there of Part 2, when it talks about those breaches, and Section 6 and 7 of Section 23 and 4 of the Local Government Ratings Act, those are the specific breaches we're talking about. And of course, that's just in the 2003-4 year. So here we have in a change that the Select Committee has recommended to these particular sections or clauses of Part 2. For a start, for the sake of consistently, a technical amendment we're recommending be made to clauses 5A, 6 and 9 to replace the term declared to have been, and we're talking about declared to have been made valid. We're saying what we should better say, for the sake of consistency, is declared to be and to always have been. And that's a much more thorough, all-encompassing, clear, leaves little room for any doubt in any courtroom across New Zealand, particularly in the courtrooms of the Tasman district, that we are talking about validating rates. They are declared to be and always have been valid. So where this works out in clauses 5A, we're saying that the specified rates are valid and declared to be and always have been lawfully set by the Council. In clause 6, we're saying that those rates are valid and declared to be and always have been lawfully imposed by the Council. And in clause 9, we're saying that the The financial years are valid. This is the Tata Beach storm, Mr. Chairman. That the Tata Beach stormwater rate for the 2006-07 financial year are valid and declared to have been and always been lawfully set. So there you have always been lawfully set by the council, always been lawfully imposed by the council, and again with Tata Beach set by the council. So it is very, very important to note that we have made that technical change, and I'd encourage parliaments moving forward, so for the rest of this year, and well, I guess most of the country feels this way, hopefully a national-led parliament for the next 3 years, include the consistency that we've included tonight, and that is not to simply say declared to have been, but to say declared to be and always have been. I do want to touch a bit more deeply on Part 9, or Clause 9 of Part 2 as well, and that's a validation of Liger Bay and Tata Beach stormwater rates. The committee was tempted, and many members of the committee are more open to temptation than others. Some of us try and lead more pure lives than others, but some are tempted. We were all tempted to a degree in this issue, and that is to actually wipe Clause 9 off the record books. But given the historic nature of the rating errors in question, and being a very open government and honest about what we do, this would be difficult, because without such validation, the council would then be required to do a whole bunch of things regarding Liger Bay and Tata Beach. They'd have to determine which ratepayers had actually paid the rates back in 2006-07, the amount they paid, ascertain whether the current ratepayers are the same as those in 2006-07, what an owner is tasked, apportion the rates if there were multiple owners of a residence. So if there were 2 owners over that time period, they've got to sort of apportion the rates, presumably pro rata. There were 3 owners, they'd have to apportion them 3 ways, 4 ways, and so on, depending on the turnover of that property. They'd have to write to each ratepayer, advising them of the amount of the refund and requesting bank details for repayment. And a difficult task, tracking those people down, getting their consent, getting their bank account, finding out all those details, and in the end having the permission to do so from the individual. So a difficult task indeed. So we decided that we would in fact retain Clause 9, albeit in an amended form. So a pragmatic solution, Mr. Chairman, to that issue of validation of Liger Bay and Tata Beach stormwater rates.
I call Dennis O'Rourke.
I move that the question be now put.
The question is that the question be now put. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question then is that Part 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. We now move to the clauses. The question is that clauses 1 and 2 stand part. I call Claudette